Hey guys, it's AG Cox from Revive, Restore, Renew, the cookbook that I'm working on. So I know I've only done one post and I do apologize. It's been 3 months since that initial post, but a lot has happened. My father actually passed away unexpectedly in March, so I had to travel from Tennessee to Florida to deal with his final arrangements. And so I've been going through somewhat of a grieving process, but I thank God for peace, and I know that my father is in a good place. He had made his peace with God before he passed, and he had been saved and just working on his salvation, honestly, for the past 5 or 6 years. So although it hurts, I still expect his phone call every weekend. I know he's in a good place, and I know he's always with me in spirit and in my heart. So I'm not going to get too much into that because I don't want to cry right now, but I wanted to just update you guys on some things that have been going on with me. One is that my husband and I decided that we are going to move forward with fertility, and we're going to do everything we can holistically before we go to any medicinal forms of helping us be able to conceive. So there's a couple of different things that I have lined up, and hopefully and prayerfully some of these things, if you haven't thought about it already, will be helpful to you and help you along your journey. One of the main things that I did starting in April is that I actually did a vegan challenge where I practiced veganism for the entire month of April. I did not eat any meat at all or any animal products, meaning cheese, butter, milk, anything that comes from an animal. I did not eat it. I did my best not to eat it. Now, if we went to a restaurant or something like that where they use butter, I would ask them not to. But if something happened to have butter in it, I didn't freak out about it. I asked about my vegetables and things like that, if it was made in chicken broth or vegetable broth, and we ate in for the most part just so that I could be as committed to the vegan challenge as possible, and I had great results. I released 14 pounds and 7 inches off of my waist in about a 45-day time span. It's funny because going into May, like the first week of May, I still felt awkward eating meat, and I really didn't eat it that much. And honestly, I didn't miss it. So as of right now, I'm doing the vegan challenge again just because I felt very clean. I was energized. I wasn't honestly in a pleasant mood. I just felt really good. So I decided to do it again for the month of June, which I started on June 16th. So I'm going to probably do it until about July 16th. And I'm doing this because, like I said, we are desperately trying to conceive. We've been trying for 5 years after our miscarriage in 2010, and so I just want to prepare my womb and do my part, and I know that God will take care of the rest. So one reason that I wanted to post today is because I've heard a lot about different cleanses and things like that, but with me having an autoimmune disease, I have to be very, very careful of what I put in my body and how it could affect me. So, in case you don't know, the autoimmune disease that I have is Graves' disease. And that is an autoimmune disease where your immune system actually attacks your thyroid. For women, this is very, very significant because your thyroid controls your weight, your cycle, if you have a miscarriage, your mood. It controls so many things. When I first met my husband, I was about 97 pounds, and now I'm almost double that weight. And it's all because of my thyroid. I was never a really big junk food eater or anything like that. It's just something that I have to be very conscious of, as opposed to when I had my first daughter. I was 97 pounds when I conceived her, and I was 126 when I delivered her, and she was 8 pounds and 7 ounces. So she was not a little baby by any means. One of the main things physically for me, that happened after being diagnosed with Graves' disease. I went through the radioactive iodine treatment. And so one thing that happened after that is my eyes started to swell up. So my eyes have been swollen for about 2 years. But they're actually a lot smaller than they used to be. I used to have a lot more, a lot of bulging, and sometimes you'll see my eyes kind of do like that, and that's just a side effect of it. Missy Elliott has Graves' disease, and she's probably one of the more prominent people that, when I say Graves' disease, people always say, "Oh, what Missy Elliott has." Yes, it's the exact same thing. There is not a cure for it, but it's definitely treatable. It can be fatal if you do not receive treatment. I thank God that I was able to live and go at least 5 years with having this disease in my body, and doctors could not figure it out. Some of the things that helped me with this autoimmune disease is that I began to do acupuncture. And I know sometimes people think, oh, needles all over my body, I hate shots. It's not the same thing. You normally don't feel it. If you do feel a needle every once in a while, it may feel like a mosquito bite just for a split second, but it's not anything that you have to be ultra concerned about. So I was at one point doing acupuncture once a week. If you can do it twice a week, you can. Try to find a community acupuncture place, because nothing against spas, but usually it's a lot less expensive if you go to a community acupuncture. Most of the time they're income based. And I also did lymphatic massages and yoga, in addition to taking certain things out of my diet. So at the end of 2013, I read this book called The Virgin Diet. It's by J.J. Virgin. I actually downloaded it on a Kindle, so I have a digital copy of the book. Unfortunately, I don't have it to show to you, but you can find her book on Amazon.com, and it's called The Virgin Diet by J.J. Virgin. And she focuses a lot on autoimmune diseases and the 7 things that you should not have that makes it worse. So, things such as soy, gluten, corn, artificial sweeteners and sugars, peanuts, dairy products, eggs, red meat, and pork are the main things that can really, really agitate your autoimmunity. And consuming these things on a regular basis can actually make it worse, sometimes even mutate it and cause you to have other autoimmune diseases. And that's no fun. Some autoimmune diseases that you may have heard of but didn't know what they were are like lupus, Graves' disease, which is what I have, Hashimoto's disease, arthritis is an autoimmune disease. I didn't even know that, and this is just all from research over the past 2.5 years after my diagnosis. So I removed those things from my diet. Now you can, after about 21 days, slowly start to implement those different foods back into your diet. They recommend one by one. That way, if there is one that you're sensitive to, you will find out right away, because it'll make you uncomfortable. Your stomach will start cramping and things like that. Another really, really rare kind of autoimmune disease that people may not be aware of is celiac disease. So celiac disease is an autoimmune disease where people who are basically allergic to gluten cannot have anything that has gluten in it, because it will absolutely upset their stomach, and it affects the intestines, and it causes them to have a lot of excruciating pain and cramping and things like that. So, without further ado, the reason that I wanted to do this post today is because of all the challenges and things that I've done. I had heard a lot about herbal detoxifying, and I wanted to do something that was organic and true to its natural form without doing all of these harsh boot camps and things like that to lose weight and really presenting a shock to my body. So many of you may be aware of DHealthstore, which is like an online store that specializes in all different types of herbal supplements for anything from fertility to weight loss to headaches to erectile dysfunction. I mean, anything you can think of, there's pretty much a formula for. So as I started doing my research on the company, another company was presented to me, which was DHealthstore. Now, from my understanding, and let me give my disclaimer, I am not in any way affiliated with DHerbs or DHealthstore at all. I do not work for either of these companies. I also am not a nutritionist. I am not any type of healthcare professional at all. I am a consumer who is merely sharing my experiences and what has worked for me on my journey to a better life, a better lifestyle, fertility, clean eating, and all things of God. And so with that being said, doing my reviews, what I found in the research that I've done is that there is a gentleman by the name of Jehudi, and I may totally be pronouncing that wrong, and I apologize if I am, but I believe his name is Jehudi. He is a master herbalist. From my understanding, Jehudi is the person that was the partner with the DHerbs that pretty much came up with all of the formulas for all of the different detoxes and elixirs and things of that nature. From my understanding, Jehudi urged his partners several times to lower their prices, and they did not want to do that. Basically, greed took over, and so he decided to form his own store and rebrand his product into DHealthstore. So, after meeting with all of these doctors and having all these procedures done that I later find out were not really necessary. For instance, the right heart catheterization that I had done in November 2013 was not necessary, but now I have thousands of dollars in medical bills, and I feel very betrayed by the healthcare industry and the Food and Drug Administration as well, because people want to eat healthy, people want to eat organic, but it's so expensive, as opposed to the fast food places being so cheap. They do not make it a deterrent for people to not eat healthy. They make it a deterrent because the prices are so expensive. And when you go to the doctor, they just want to force all this medicine down your throat instead of to treat the ailment or the symptom, as opposed to getting to the root cause of the problem. And Jehudi seems to be very concerned about consumers and very concerned about your mind, body, and spirit, which is what I'm concerned about as well with my new cookbook, Revive, Restore, Renew. So I decided to go with DHealthstore because, for one, they were about 75% cheaper or less expensive than DHerbs. They're about 75% less expensive than DHerbs. I don't know why I keep messing that up. And he's the one that actually came up with the formula. So I want to go with the person who actually made this stuff up and know what they're doing. So to give you an idea, this is what the bottle looks like. This is actually number 6, but there are 6 different formulas that you're supposed to use throughout the day. And you have to use them in chronological order, steps 1 through 6. You can use them every 2 to 3 hours. Totally depends on you and your schedule and how you can do it. It can be a little cumbersome at first, but once you get the rhythm of it, you'll be fine. At the end of the day, the very last thing you're supposed to take is activated charcoal, which, just to show you, this is the lid here. And if I can use this without spilling, this is actually what activated charcoal look like. And basically activated charcoal is from like it's the decomposition of plants and things like that. So you have a total of 30 pills that you're taking per day. You take 5 pills of each capsule throughout the day. So say for instance you start at 8 a.m. So 8 a.m. you take 5 of step 1, 10 p.m. 5 of step 2, 3 and so on and so forth throughout the day. With the activated charcoal, you're supposed to take 1/2 teaspoon at the end of the day with 8 ounces of water. So what I actually did, because at first I was like, how am I going to know exactly what 1/2 of a teaspoon is? But I looked at my measuring cups and I had this, which this is 1/2 teaspoon. So if you have this, please use that instead of trying to guesstimate and not doing it the right way, or go to like a Dollar General, Dollar Tree, somewhere like that, and you can actually get a measuring set, and more than likely that will be in there. You're supposed to drink 8 cups of water per day, just by normal standards, not even what the DHealthstore says. That's just what you're supposed to do. So when I was at Walmart, before I even started the detox, I got this. This was $2.40, and it's 8 cups. It's BPA free, so that is the chemical that is used in a lot of plastics. This is not supposed to have that in there, so I've been doing that. And just with the water alone, before I even started the detox, I was doing that water, doing the 8 cups, and I lost 2 pounds. I lost 3 pounds in 2 days just from doing the water alone. So I've only been on the detox for 72 hours. The first day I really didn't feel anything, but about 36 hours in, I could kind of start to feel something going on internally. I felt a little knotting in my stomach and a little cramping. The best way to describe it, unfortunately, is kind of like mild menstrual cramps. Sorry, gentlemen, but this is the best way I could describe it. So it's nothing excruciating, nothing really, really bad or unbearable. So, and by last night, which was the end of day 2, I really felt my body releasing waste and toxins, and I was frequenting the restroom more frequently, more often. So today is day 3. I'm midway through day 3. It has not been bad at all. Internally, I have not been experiencing any headaches or any nausea. I feel very clean on the inside. I feel very energetic. I don't feel tired. I usually have problems sleeping. I have really since I was like 6 years old. The last 2 nights I've slept very well all throughout the night, not getting up or anything like that. And so I'm pleased so far. Again, this is only day 3, so I'm not sure what's going to happen. But what I can recommend to you is try to stick to the regimen as closely as you can. Try to eat all organic, raw, natural foods, nuts, vegetables. If you do have to cook your vegetables, blanch them. Do wild or brown rice, which is what they recommend. And just get your water in, because you want to continue to help your body flush those toxins out, and just follow the regimen as best as you can. I will be updating you probably within the next few days, just to kind of track my progress and let you know how I'm doing on the 20-day full body detox by DHealthstore.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak with you soon.